Hi everyone, welcome to Citizen, episode 10. This is a City Past. So I'll do a couple of these every month. I usually pick on a particular month. Obviously, you've seen the October one I did a couple of weeks ago, and there'll be a November one out, obviously, about a week or so before November. But this is like a secondary one we do. And it looks at various things in the past. It's normally my past. I can't go back to things I don't really know too much about, obviously. But it usually goes back to things that I know about. And I've sort of, the main bulk of this today is about the wonderful, obviously, superb Bert Trautmann, which we know, obviously, I think it was last week he celebrated, it was 70 years to the day, thanks to Gary James, with all the information and various stuff that he signed for Manchester City back in 1949. So, although obviously I'm not that old that I remember watching Bert Trautmann in the flesh, obviously I started going to Main Road in the mid-60s. So there is an element of Bert Trautmann there. And obviously I've collected programmes, etc. from the early 60s. So obviously Bert was more well known for his broken neck in 1956, obviously. But he stayed with City to the early 60s, obviously. So I'm going to have a little piece on Bert Trautmann today, and it also includes a nice review of the film which came out, if you remember, a couple of months ago, called The Keeper. So I'm going to have a look at that as well and give you, I've seen it, obviously, give you a personal review of that film and obviously what the critics said and what other people said about it. So, and there'll be other things, obviously, looking at the Twitterverse and stuff like that. So, and an opening of programs as well. So obviously little packets of programs. As I say, I buy programs and bid for programs. I forget what I bid for sometimes. So I've unsealed them, but I've not actually looked inside. So we can do that together and have a look at what programs I've purchased over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Anyway, as I said, I started going to Main Road in the mid-60s. So my earliest memories of football in general, obviously, was World Cup Willie. 1966, obviously, with the England World Cup. I remember having little bits of memorabilia. I remember having one of the brown, orangey shaped footballs that we used to kick around. Used to knock your head off in those days. Those leather footballs with the laces to tie them up. I remember having one of them. Was a metal one with World Cup Willie on the top, with a little statue of World Cup Willie on the top of it. And there was all sweets inside it. And that was my earliest memory. And I don't particularly remember watching the World Cup, etc., etc. But obviously, my father was taking me from the mid-60s. So the early memories I have of City were actually winning the second division trophy in 1965-66. So you're talking only a year or two after Bert Trautmann retired from playing for City, although obviously he did do other things. So there's a possibility, a very small possibility. Bert Trautmann had his testimonial in 1964. There is a possibility, I'll talk about that a little bit more after, that I may have gone to that. Obviously, my dad was taking, I remember going to Main Road, and we used to always go before the gates opened. So we used to always be there a good 2 hours before the match. And I know that night many thousands were locked out. So if I went, I could have been there. I don't know. My dad died, sadly, when I was only 10. So I can't really look back and memorize these things. And a lot of programs I had at the time then, I obviously have had to re-buy programs because I would cut them up and stick them on my wall at home, on my bedroom wall, obviously. And I remember having a pull out for the 65-66 with Tony Buck lifting the first division, second division trophy then in 65-66. And obviously I have better memories of the 67-68 league win, etc., obviously. So I'm going to cheat a little and say, and I have seen Bert Trautmann. I have seen Bert Trautmann play and remember seeing Bert Trautmann play. But again, I'll talk about that later on for you. The movie. Let's have a quick look at the movie. See what I said. It's available still at online, and it's still I think it's £10 for DVD, and let me just check the Blu-ray price. I think it's £12.99. Yeah, £12.99 Blu-ray, £9.99 DVD. On IMDb, which is Internet Movie Database, The Keeper, which was also called Trautmann in the German version, because he did two versions. He did an English language version and a German language version of Trautmann. And obviously for the UK, it's just called The Keeper. It's got a 7.1 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which is not too bad. IMDb rating 7.1. The keeper tells the extraordinary love story between a young English woman and a German POW who together overcome prejudice, public hostility, and personal tragedy while visiting a POW camp. Bert is met by his future wife, etc., etc. It's classed as a biography, drama, romance. It runs for 2 hours. It was a 15 rating. Not overly sure why it got a 15 rating, to be honest with you. A little bit over the top for me, a 15 rating. If you look at the user reviews on it, people who watch this, there's a bit of a mixed bag on it, what people are saying, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, if you're a City fan, I think you're going to really like this. I think 7.1 out of 10, you're probably going to give it 8, 9, 10 out of 10 because it is reticent. There's some great scenes, some great mock-ups of the old main road. Obviously, they had to redo it on green screen, etc. because obviously when this was made, main road obviously is now just a housing estate, as you know. So there's some great little mock-ups of Main Road and Wembley, some great stuff, and it looks fantastic on the film. It is really good. Look at a couple of reviews. 9 out of 10. So canny poorly. Not knowing anything about the movie, we had no idea what the film was going to be like. It was great. The characters, the subject, the love, the hate, the loss, very well acted, a great true story. Can't recommend this film highly enough. And as some of the reviewers already said, the keeper really should be more widely publicised. Watch this. So yeah, I mean, this sort of little film, independent film, isn't going to get greatly appreciated, is it? An extraordinary true story showing ordinary people facing and overcoming extraordinary challenges. Themes include the effects of war, love, loss, family, friendship, ambition, prejudice, forgiveness, hope, and triumph. Masterfully presented. And then you get someone a 2 out of 10, quite disappointing. This is Andy 296. He's probably a Liverpool fan or United fan, I don't know. A biopic of Bert Trautmann, a once German POW in England, who unexpectedly succeeded as a goalkeeper in English Football League during the immediate post-war years. German directed but filmed in England with mostly English stars. This film is quite awful with its maudlin, manipulative dialogue. The issue of Charlton being a German soldier in the war is almost continuously raised during the movie. Obviously, the film wanted to be honest, has to talk about this, but was it necessary to mention it all the time? The actors are all good, but they can only do so much faced with the awful lines that they are. So obviously, he didn't like it. 6 out of 10, ruined by a love story. So this guy obviously wanted it just to be all about football, which it isn't. Football is an element of it. I watched it with my fiance, who did enjoy the film, and she's not into football. Did enjoy it for the drama and obviously the humour in it. There's a lot of northern type humour in it. Obviously with John Henshaw stars in it, obviously, so you get that side of it. He's very funny. She enjoyed his performance. 7 out of 10. A story worth being told. I mean, I give it 7.5 to 8 out of 10 when I reviewed it. Quite often in sports biopics, the story far supersedes their sporting achievements. This couldn't be any more true in the case of Bert Trautmann, as his fascinating story gets told here, becoming a hero to many Englishmen not so long after fighting to kill them. So yeah, I mean, that sums it up. There's a 4 out of 10 there. So there is some negativity about it, and I find it hard to find. Yeah, there's flaws in the film. Of course, there's flaws in the film. There's flaws in any film like this, and it does only sort of cover up to the. Obviously, I'll go into it a little bit in a bit. Obviously, he suffers a great distress early in his life. Obviously, as a soldier, and he suffers great distress as an adult with children as well. So, and it sort of covers up to that. The 1956 cup final is at the end of the film. It goes on a little bit after that, but as I said, it's a bit about his life. It's probably, I think his family were happy with it. I don't think there's any real problems. I mean, a lot of these biopics, a lot of the families of the people that are about usually have complaints, etc., etc. But I don't think there's anything too bad in there. I think the family quite liked the film. It starred Davy Cross, Freya May, and of course, as I said, John Henshaw. If you haven't got the keeper, go out and buy it. I said it's a tenner on DVD, 13 quid on Blu-ray. I mean, it's just something every City fan should really have in the collection. If you like, even if you don't like DVDs, in the same way you should have There's Only One Jimmy Grimble and stuff like that. I mean, superb films, and I think we should all at least watch. If you don't go out and buy it, at least watch the thing, because it's absolutely superb, as you know. So that was a little look at The Keeper, which is out to buy on DVD and Blu-ray, and obviously will still be on various streaming sites, etc., etc. I was having a look at some things on the Twitter, not to do with Bert Trautmann, obviously. There's an interesting thing. Trevor Boswell at citytillidie.com do a lot of stuff on Manchester City. They had an old match report which was quite good. 1896 against Blackpool 2-2. And it's just the wording they use, really. It's just quite funny, obviously, for the newspaper reports. As Blackpool before 5,000 spectators, City won the toss and played downhill. So it must have been a sloping pitch at Blackpool in those days. With a slight breeze in their favour, City soon got into close quarters, but Meredith shot over. Obviously, Billy Meredith, a very famous City and obviously footballer who went on to play for United, amongst others, shot over. Blackpool twice handled, but neither of the free kicks availed the visitors anything. So, the handball, what's going on? Is it tactical play there by Blackpool in 1896? Clark is centred, but the ball was only partially cleared. Striziker, however, relieved the pressure by shooting out with a clear swiping shot. A minute later, Connor shot in the ball from close quarters, but Williams fisted out nicely. At the end of the quarter of an hour, a scrummage took place. I don't think it was a rugby scrummage. A scrummage took place. Just get this a bit clearer. In the City goal mouth, from which the ball was shot into the net amid unbounded enthusiasm. So, excuse me, Blackpool went 1-0 up there. This encouraged the homesters. It was played at Blackpool, obviously. This played up and slowly showing really first-class football, came within an ace of increasing the score. City were penalised for handling. Stewart took the kick and placing it beautifully, Parkinson headed it through for the second time. Up to now, the City had certainly been overplayed, but Blackpool fell off a little. The City warmed to their work, but the Blackpool defence was as sound as a rock. And it goes on to describe City did actually draw 2-2. So the City men showed great improvement in the second half. The forwards shaped better, and about 20 minutes had elapsed when Hill put on the first goal. Blackpool were not vigorous, and Finnehan slipped when he was on the point of equalising. Mann got the second goal, but in an exciting struggle for supremacy, neither team scored again. So, I mean, it is good to look back at these things you get on Twitter, and that's City Till I Die, which is a good little podcast to look at. Not a podcast, a little thing on Twitter. Knows lots of little things on that. City on a card, which is another cracking one. City on a card. Picture of Peter Doherty there. You can see that. That's City on a card. They do some good stuff as well. Peter Doherty. Joe, again, City on a card. Nice picture. Joe Corrigan in action. At Spurs in February 73. City won 3-2. Football Retro Plus at Robert M. Dorsey does some nice pics as well. You still see first game of Rodney Marsh when he signed for City, showing obviously on the pitch with all the press around him. Nice images. I mean, that's the thing about the Tinternet, isn't it? Tinternet and WhatsApp. You do get some great stuff on there. And this is one was okay. I got it from an old magazine actually. I was just it's not one I've pulled out for City Pass, but I have come across this, and it was obviously Tony Buck with one of the Miss Manchester Cities enjoying his time interviewing her there. I did comment that he looks far too happy. That was back in 1973. So I did say he was looking far too happy on that one. You've got the great Dennis Law and Ken Barnes from 1960 there. Another great picture there. That's City on a card one again. That's City on a card. So it's a wonderful. I mean, it does have some rubbish on it, doesn't it? WhatsApp and the internet, but obviously you get stuff like that. There's a couple of things on Bert Trautmann there that we'll talk about later, including my favourite picture of Bert Trautmann, which I had on my wall for a long time, which I'll tell you about that. And obviously Gary James on Twitter, at Gary James Wright. Early this week I wrote a tribute to Eric Alexander. I just posted the full version on my Facebook. So if you want to go on Gary James's Facebook, obviously there's a tribute to the great Alex Alexander, who passed away last week. It's on facebook.com/Gary James // So that's if you go on Gary James Writer, you'll see links for that anyway. So that's obviously on the wonderful Eric Alexander, who sadly we lost this week, didn't we? And before I go on to Bert Trautmann, I'll just show you that picture. That is one of my favourites of all the pictures. I came across it, and I think it was actually done in the early 60s. So it is about the time I'm going to talk about. And what I liked about the picture was it was actually an image of Bert, and it's the time when I started going to Main Road. So it was actually 19, if you can see it well on there. Obviously, it was the open scoreboard end, and obviously you've got the Platt Lane and the Kippax there in the distance. But it means a lot to me, that picture, because it is City as and when I started to go, the early 60s. So very poignant for me, and obviously it brings us nicely onto Bert Trautmann. So we're going to have a quick look at a few little memories that I've got. So if you bear with me now while I set the camera up, and I'll be back with you very shortly. Thanks for bearing with me. Right, we're back. Let's have a quick look. The first thing, as I said, I've collected programmes really from when I was my sort of birth date. So obviously from 1960. I was born in 1959. I mean, this is the first thing where we actually get a Bert Trautmann mention. Bolton Wanderers, November the 5th, 1960. So a bonfire night. So hey, there could have been plenty of fireworks that night, obviously. Have a look at what we've got here. Let's get that central for you. Yeah, so it's the very simple programmes in those days. As you can see, there's the team on the back. Trautmann, Sear, Betts, Barnes, Plenderleaf, I don't know that guy, Shawcross, Colbridge, Baker, Hannah, Law, and obviously the famous Dennis Law was playing for Zembalo. It looks as though we lost 3-1. Obviously, Dennis Law scored. I mean, the mention obviously in the footnotes here of Bert Trautmann. Goalkeeper, 6 foot 1.5 inches, 13 stone 5 pounds, born Bremen, Germany. Made his debut at Bolton 11 years ago, so he made his debut at Bolton, so there's a lot of significance there. And now the senior keeper in the First Division. Bert now 37, worthily gained Football League 11 honours this season, playing in his 343rd First Division match today. So there you go. He's still got a few to go anti. So I say he's still playing for the City then. That's Bolton Wanderers. On to Villa Park, December the 3rd, 1960. Threatens for the programme. That's not too bad, is it? So again, in the team, there's no real mention of Bert in this as anything specific anyway about Bert Trautmann. Obviously, Trautmann, pretty much the same team. We've got Law again, got Hayes there. So pretty much the same team. Look at that pair of slacks, 55 shilling for a pair of slacks. That's not too bad, is it? That's pretty good. And obviously, they'd advertised a trip to Nottingham, 8 and 6pence for the Villa fans there to get to Nottingham. That's a great picture. I mean, obviously, they had this open end the first time I went to Villa. Which absolutely. Sorry, that's the Holt end. That's the main end. That's the open end where the away fans used to go. That's where I went, obviously, and that was the end I was in for the FA Cup semi-final. Obviously, many years later, when it had a cover on it. Again, I mean, there's a lot of Bolton Wanderers links, but there's a great picture of Main Road. That's a fantastic picture of Main Road, isn't it? That's absolutely superb. Saturday, the 16th of September. 1961, so we've still got the wonderful Bert playing for us there. Some interesting things on the half-time scoreboard there. You used to win prizes if you got the scores right, stuff like that. Again, so we've gone to 1961, so into the next year. So we're still seeing pretty much the same team. We've got Dobin and Wagstaff now, which are probably familiar names to City fans. City 2, Bolton 1, so we did win that one by the looks of it. And I assume Hayes and Baker scored because they're underlined. So yeah, that was the first Manchester City sort of home one with Bert Trautmann in that I've got. We've got there, obviously, West Bromwich Albion versus City Saturday. So there you go. Light refreshments available. 8 and 9pence, 10 shilling. They are all the prices. League tables, they are. We're second in the league. So there you go. That was 1961-62. So we did end up getting relegated a year or two later, but obviously, it could have been that. Yeah, I think it was 63. We got relegated. I might be wrong on that, but we're a healthy second there, weren't we? So we weren't doing too bad on that one. And then up to February 62, obviously Bolton Wanderers again. So you get a similar thing on Bert Trautmann, a similar description. Now senior first division keeper, Bert has remarkable anticipation and agility. So they added a little bit to that one. We've got a little bit of a change in defence there. Gomersell in defence again. And there we go. Look at that. Number 7, Young. So we've got Neil Young's sort of first appearance. So we're talking February 3rd, 1962, the first time we see Neil Young on one of these programmes. And back to April 62, Sheffield Wednesday at the wonderful Main Road again. That's it. That's the picture. That's the ground as I knew it when I first went. So even though this is 1962, obviously that's still what I know and what I grew up with, obviously at the time. Again, similar sort of team. You got Neil Young there again, playing on the right wing, is it? You're playing on the right wing there. Kennedy in defence. So I remember Kennedy. Manchester City against Sheffield Wednesday. Looks as though we've won 3-1 there again. So Chapman's doing really well. He's not in many losing teams, is he? So City's programme was always quite a little bit bigger than the others. We always had up to fairly recently, City always had quite a good programme. Always won prizes, etc., for our programmes. And now we're getting 62, so we're getting near the time that Bert Trautmann obviously stopped playing for City. And they are 2-1, another win with Trautmann. See, so Barlow, Young again. Young switch over to number 10 there. That's what we know where Neil Young has, isn't it? Number 10, obviously from the cup finals, etc. So that's what becomes more recognisable, obviously. There. So, as I said, there we go. And look at this little beauty here now, the Bert Trautmann testimonial. As I said, he had his debut for us in November 1949. And his last game was the 27th of March 1964. So this obviously is April 1964. So that's obviously not much difference, is there, between then and then. I mean, he was actually 15 when war was declared. He became, obviously, he joined the German army, and obviously he was captured in, I think it was 1944. He received the Iron Cross, as you know. Made 545 appearances for Manchester City. And an interesting fact, he actually saved 60% of the penalties he faced. He was a cracking penalty saver. So of all the penalties he faced, he saved 60%, which is pretty impressive, isn't it? I mean, that's a pretty good return, really. A little bit short-tempered, we believe. He was a little bit short-tempered in life, which is a shame. And obviously, he passed away in 2013 at the age of 89. He didn't quite make his 90th birthday, as you know. So we go to April 1964. So this is the All International 11 versus combined Manchester City and Manchester United 11. Wednesday, April 15th at Main Road, kick-off 7:30. So as I said, the crowd was reported at 48,000. And I said there is a possibility I went to this. So it would be nice to think I did. I'd like to say this was from them, but this is actually purchased again at a later date, obviously. People reckon there was over 60,000 in Main Road that day, and many thousands were locked out. So we did have Peter Swales there, did we? I don't know why the crowd was announced at less than it would have been. I mean, I'm sure there was no goings on. It was a testimonial match after all. So. Well, there you go. This is obviously a couple of years before the World Cup. Tributes from Mel and Douglas. Tribute by Matt Busby there. It's a real pleasure that my club, through the participation of its players in the testimonial match, associates itself with the deserved tribute to Bert Trautmann. I hope City supporters will understand when I say that some players, by the very greatness of their gifts, belong not so much to one section of football's following, but to all of it. Bert Trautmann established himself as one of those greats, admired by football fans throughout the land. It is fitting that this player, who has served the game so well, should now be himself served by football. He has our best wishes at Old Trafford for a bumper testimonial. So some great words there. Tribute by Jimmy Armfield, G. Poyser, the manager of Manchester City at the time. The Bert Trautmann I knew, a piece there by Frank McGee from the Daily Mirror. Great dramatic incident in the 56 Cup final, where he broke his neck when the collision with Birmingham City's inside forward Murphy. Some great images in these things. 15 wonderful years by Bert Trautmann. Yeah, I mean, his love for City. I mean, from even when he went, he always professed his love for City and England. I mean, he would always shout for England. Apparently, in games with Germany, he would actually shout for England. He wouldn't shout for Germany. He'd shout for England. And obviously, so he always had a love for City. He always came back to watch lots and lots of games. That's where he shakes the hand of the Duke of Edinburgh before the '56 FA Cup final. One of the great highlights of my career, says Bert. Absolutely fantastic. Another side of Bert, which receives that he deserves as much, and this Vurse has been a keen worker amongst local youngsters for years. He is talking to the lads of the Colliers Boys Club. So the Colliers Boys Club, so there's a great picture again. There's the teams on the night. Trautmann, Levers, Campbell, Setters, Folks, Oaks, Kevin, Law, Charlton, Wagstaff, Murray. So that was obviously the combined City and United 11 and an international 11. A few changes there, as you probably get in testimonials, don't you? Connolly, Quicksall, Matthews, Johnston, Douglas. I mean, Bobby Johnson, obviously a big City player as well. Adamson, Miller, Clayton, Wilson, Arnfield, Ron Springer in goal. Excuse me. Well, I remember Ron Springer. Obviously, there's little dedications to Bert. Roy Clark there. I've met Roy Clark. Used to chat to Roy Clark in the City Social Club. A typical Trautmann action picture showing Bert in flying form with Shrill France, obviously at Main Road there. You all remember that floodlight with steelwork, boom bolted on the top. It became Truman Steel eventually, didn't it? Picture of Bert with his Player of the Year award from the sports writers. And obviously the contraption he had in the film is a sort of that you can see that in the film as well. One of the best saves I ever made. Although we got beat by Newcastle. Of course, he played in the '55 final where we lost to Newcastle in the FA Cup as well, the year before the famous broken neck one. Obviously, he said that was his famous. We did get beat by Newcastle, but that was his famous save against Newcastle. Tribute by Don Revie. So there you go. Don Revie played alongside him. Obviously, a tribute by Tottenham Supporters Club, which obviously with the Jewish connection, it's a nice thing to see, isn't it? Everybody reads the Manchester Evening News and Chronicle. And there you go. That was his programme in 1964. Now, as I said, I could possibly have gone to that one. I'm not going to claim I did. I'm hoping I may have done. I'm hoping my dad may have took me to that. But obviously, where I did go, obviously, was this one. Another testimonial, which was for Johnny Hart in the 1st of May 1974. And this is the actual programme, all scuffed and things. So, yes, I do remember going to this. And, of course, I point this out because half side, Bert Trautmann was there. He played in the seven-a-side team, all our yesterday's team. So Bert Trautmann, Tony Butt, Roy Little, Ken Barnes, Roy Paul, Bobby Johnson, Jack Dyson, Roy Clark, Paddy Fagan, Ken Brannigan. I played against Tommy Lawrence, who was my boyhood hero as a goalkeeper. I think his nickname was a Flying Pig. He used to play for Liverpool. But if I played on the park, I was always Tommy Lawrence in goal. Bill Fouts, Ron Yates, Pat Creran, Malcolm Allison, Brian Douglas, Roger Hunt, Johnny Morris, Charlie Whitten, Bobby Collins. So, yeah, in 1974, I was there. I would have watched Bert Trautmann doing this seven-a-side match. I think they did it at half-time for another wonderful servant of City, Johnny Hart, testimonial. So, yeah, I was at that one. So, I do remember that one. And then, obviously, the recent thing, obviously, with his death in 2013, very sad. We actually dedicated this game to the wonderful Bert Trautmann versus Newcastle United, 19th of August 2013. I bet most of you were there at this one. And actually with that, you got, and I think I did it on the thumbnail before, didn't I? This wonderful commemorative magazine. Absolutely superb thing. Bert Trautmann, 23 to 2013, a special tribute supplement to the MCFC official matchday programme. So along with the programme, you got this. Absolutely superb thing. If you haven't got one of these, I'm sure you could probably pick it out at various places, source it from different places. The football world pays tribute to Bert Trautmann, so legend on and off the pitch with the forward there. And you got Mike Summer, you got Bernard Halford there. Following the sad death of legendary goalkeeper Bert Trautmann, the footballing world paid tribute to a blue hero both on and off the pitch. Bernard Halford, long-standing friend of Trautmann, led the club's tributes. You got all sorts. Francis Lee, you got Alex Williams, Wolfgang Niersbeck, Sepp Blatter gets in on the game. That's a great look at that picture. The old scoreboard in the background, absolutely superb. big giant of a man. A man in every sense of the word, Mike. Someone be Joe Hart inspired. Joe Corrigan, one of my goalkeeping heroes, saying how he inspired Joe and gave him help. And, you know, he remembers a game where, and I went to it, where Joe let 5 goals in against West Ham. We lost 5-1. He had an awful game. And I believe Bert Trautmann gave him encouragement after that. The Bert Trautmann story there. So I say, if you've not got this or seen it, get it. Try and get it from somewhere or borrow it off someone. So the great one by the historian Gary James. What a great action picture there. This is 6'2", the classing him here, 14 stone 5. So he's a bit heavier there by the end. This is his league debut against Bolton Wanderers away on the 19th of November 1949. So that was his league debut. I think we got to beat that. I think we lost, didn't do very well that game, but that's my favourite picture. White Hart Lane, obviously, with the shelf in the background. I mean, that's that is fantastic. I mean, that's a picture you could frame, isn't it? Stick it on the wall. What a great picture that is. More memories, obviously. The cup final meeting, the Duke of Edinburgh there. Not looking too good with his neck. I mean, look how he's holding himself. Don Revie there with him as well. Obviously, this was at the end of the 64. This was a 64 testimonial. This was the escort he had to get off the pitch as the fans invaded the pitch. Danke Bert, obviously Ian Cheeseman, obviously a connection with Germany himself, obviously with his mother's links. Danke Bert from Ian Cheeseman, his Player of the Year award there. A brave man, obviously there. Coming off the pitch at Wembley with his poorly neck. Obviously, we didn't know how bad it was at the time. He only found out later after going to about 3 different people. Sky Sports commentator John Gwynn. Another great picture there. I think that has to be Main Road, doesn't it? Sorry, no, that's the Valley. It looked like Main Road for me. That's Charlton, the Valley, in action at the Valley in 1953. So that's one of his 4 years into his career. My Debt to City by Bert Trautmann. Yeah, so I mean, he loves City, and this 2 years ago, Bert Trautmann spoke of his pride at representing Manchester City. He did love City a great deal. Obviously, that's nothing to be a member, be a blue, but I mean, that's a fantastic tribute to Bert Trautmann. He also appeared back in 1995. He came to open the new Kipak stand, if you remember, at City as well, which was great to see him. He got an OBE in 2004, and I think he's the only person to hold an OBE and the Iron Cross. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's fairly sure. He was inaugurated to National Football Museum's Hall of Fame in 2005. The last game he attended, from what we know, was April 2010, where he said they're still my club. Obviously, he always shouted for England rather than Germany. And obviously, he was remembered in. I think that game in 2010, it was probably against United. Actually, that was his last time we remember seeing him at Main Road. But there you go. That was Bert Trautmann. That's my little bit on Bert Trautmann. As I say, it's a lot of people have done far better things. But hey, rest in peace, Bert. We love you. The great Bert Trautmann. Right, let's have a quick look at it. Have a look at a couple of these before I finish. We've done 35 minutes now. These are just I've had a quick look. These are all City programs that I've purchased. Isle of Man, were you there? Football Festival, Manchester City, Stoke, Carlisle, Isle of Man, 20p. So that's back in August 1980, July and August 85. So obviously went over to the Isle of Man to play in a little competition there. Manchester City, Stoke City. There's all the various games, like a round robin. I think it was a league thing that you played in at the time. I'm sure some of you went over there for that. Carlisle United, the Isle of Man team, obviously. I don't know. I've no record now. As I said, I've looked at, I've bought these, and obviously I've not had a chance to look at how we did in that. So I think that'll obviously appear in a City Pass one day. Look at this. Oh, Tottenham versus Manchester City, sixpence, 14th of December 1968. So that was obviously the year after we won the league. A great picture of White Hart Lane there, which is now no longer with us, sadly. Alan Mullery and George Cohen. So obviously football fans will know them too. Some action pictures there in Arsenal's goalmouth. Spurs versus Arsenal, League Cup semi-final, second leg. That's great. Again, the shelf which we saw on Bert Trautmann's picture earlier, didn't we? And there, the men of Manchester City. So one of my most familiar football teams and squads there: Oakes, Young, Heslop, Muller, Bell, Pardo, Somerville, Allison, Connor, Lee, Buck, Coleman, Doyle, Joe Hart as the trainer there. We had Joe Hart's testimonial, didn't we? And obviously the wonderful Malcolm Allison. That is basically a team I could always name at that time in my life. If you asked me to name a team from the 80s, 90s and the Olds, I'd probably struggle now, but I can always remember that, obviously, for obvious reasons. Get out there, great team, both Tottenham and City, obviously. Tottenham, you're talking Jennings, you're talking Greaves, Alan Mullery, Gilzine, Venables. That's all well-known names that we all well-know now. Player portrait and Jimmy Greaves. Another action picture. How we were doing at the time. 20, about halfway through the season, so Tottenham are in a nice 7th, but obviously after us winning the league, obviously we were going to concentrate on the FA Cup that season, weren't we? But we're down in I don't know, 2016, 17 position. So we weren't doing too well, were we? But hey, we had other fish to fry that season, did we, with a wonderful FA Cup win. Have a look at this one. There we go, a home one, 18th of April, 73. Wonderful Francis Lee scoring a penalty by the looks of it against Newcastle United. So Johnny Hart was obviously in charge then. He had a lot of ill health, obviously, Johnny Hart. Mike Smoltry, Mike Doyle. Colin Bell tucks it away past McAllister for City's second against Sheffield United, the great Colin Bell. Mike Doyle, wonderful Mike Doyle. City finals, City sidelights. Tony Buck, top tipster. There we go. There's a need to wait for this year's major final result. Know what soccer is going to make a season 72-73. So tip there for the player of the year, probably League Division 1. So we're halfway. So we're not doing too bad that year. 1973, one of our better years. City versus Newcastle. Against a very familiar City team to City fans. Ron Ely in goal there, which is unusual. Newcastle, you got people like Ian McFall, Pat Howard, Bobby Moncur, Terry McDermott, Malcolm McDonald, Terry Hibbert. So, I mean, some great players for Newcastle there as well. Climbing back to the top. Danger Man, Malcolm McDonald, Marsh Magic, and the great Rodney Marsh. Mike Doyle at Hart's Head Motors. He's promoting the Bell Waldron restaurant. Remember that with the great Colin Bell? Yeah, it's near the end of the season there, obviously. Some good crowds, 32,000. Arsenal, Coventry, 30,000. 50,000 against Liverpool. 52,000 against United. So, again, some Leeds were playing United that day. Some great crowds from that time, 1973. A couple in this one. City versus Ipswich, full members cup. They are. First of January 1987. So not the greatest, fantastic. In fact, it's a free page thing, free thing pull out. That's quite nice, isn't it? Manchester City versus Ipswich Town, the full members cup. Remember that, don't we? The full members cup. I think that's pictures from the final year previously. So this is the year after 20p Match Magazine. Testimonial, Eric Webster, Stockport County versus Manchester City. So we went over to Stockport to play in that, August 1st, 1990. If any of you remember that, say these newer ones, you might remember bits about it. The last time, Tommy Saw's testimonial. So obviously they used to invite City along, didn't they, for quite a few of these testimonials, and obviously we would end up playing Stockport in league games. So unfortunately for us, obviously no discredit to Stockport. Obviously, we're now sadly not with us in the league even. There's that's a great magazine, isn't it? 5th of March 77, Manchester United versus Manchester City. Tommy Docherty. Remember Tommy Docherty, don't we? We sung a few nasty songs about him. Manager of the month of January. Well done, Tommy. Welcome to our visitors. So I'm not sure of the score of that one from memory. There's a possibility we could have probably done okay. We didn't do too bad in the 70s, did we? Obviously, in the 60s and 70s, we had some good scores against United. Someone will know out there. token missing. So an Manchester United fan must have had this to take the token out. Great team: Corrigan, Clements, Donachie, Doyle, Watson, Owen, Power, Kidd, Royal, Hartford, Chewett. That's a great City team. Stepney, Nicol, Houston, McElroy, Greenoff, Bucking, Coppell, Greenoff again. The two Greenoffs playing together. Pearson, Macari, Hill. So that was a good United team, wasn't it, at the time? Not the greatest, obviously. It used to be good in the cups, didn't it? It didn't do too well in other things other than that, obviously. And going back in time again with this one. 31st of August, 68. So again, the year after we'd won the league title. 1968. Ipswich Town, obviously they were quite a good team at the time. Ipswich Town, obviously they had always well known for being in the top divisions. Obviously Ken Mullen, I remember Ken Mullen, one of my early goalkeepers. Connor Pardo, Doyle, Heslop, Oaksley, Bell, some of the young Coleman. So yeah, a lot of the faces I sort of grew up remembering and knowing. They at Bellevue Zoo Park. It's not too bad, is it? Let's have a look at who's on Ipswich Town. Didn't look at that, did I? Anyone I know on there? Bill Baxter, Colin Bill-Jones. Not too many on the Ipswich Town thing. There's the half-time scoreboard. You've got those right with what the scores were. You got won some dosh. I never won in all the years I was doing. I did it for many, many years. I never won a penny on that. So there you go. Right, there we go. Another one. 1972, 15th of January. Look, a fantastic picture there. Gordon Banks. Superb Gordon Banks there. Stuff for Stoke City. This is City versus Middlesbrough, an FA Cup game. Some great pictures there. Game against Tottenham. This shelf, I mean, what a wonderful stand that was. I mean, it looked massive, didn't it? I never got to White Hart Lane when it was the old White Hart Lane, unfortunately. So I never got to see the shelf. Main road action against Nottingham Forest. Some more action. I always like the old black and white pictures. League tables, how are we doing this year? Well, we're second after 25 games. 71, 72, So we weren't always third division bottom rubbish, were we? Very familiar team. Corrigan, Buck, Donachie, Doyle, Booth, Oaks, Summerby, Bell, Davis, Lee, Towers, Hill as substitute. Middlesbrough, not particularly. Bill Gates, I don't think that'll be the Bill Gates, will it? playing for Middlesbrough there. Well, there you go. Welcome Middlesbrough. Team picture. Middlesbrough flirted, obviously. They had a bit, obviously every club has its history, don't it? Middlesbrough obviously very up and down in the top division. And the last one for today, I think this looks like a more modern one. Yeah, it's a more modern one. Here we go. The Latics. Oldham Athletic versus Manchester City, January 1993. So £1.20. So a few of you went there. Joe Royal, manager. We all know what happened with Joe Royal, don't we? When he came to us, the magazines are getting a bit bigger now, more pages, a lot more adverts, as you notice, than the old ones. There's the Manchester City picture. Obviously not the greatest then. Pictures of Oldham. His last home league meeting, League Division 1 this is when Oldham obviously were in the top division. 2nd of May 1992, Oldham 2, Manchester City 5. I think I went to that one. It was a cracking game, wasn't it? It's always cold in Oldham when you go to Oldham. It's always freezing, even in summer. It was cold. Some great pictures, JD Sports. Yeah, Oldham had their great little period, didn't they, in the top division. It was great to see him up there for that time. It's a shame he couldn't continue with that, obviously. The Premier League table, they are Oldham next to bottom. Could have been the year they went back down then. So obviously we're there about 9th place, 10th place, Man City. So we're not doing too bad, are we? In the Premier League, obviously 92, 93. Was that the first season of the Premier League? It possibly was. Well, that's the last one we're going to finish on today with the Oldham. You know, Neil Ruddock. Yeah, Neil Ruddock. Neil Razor Ruddock. We still see him a bit, don't we, now, in various, usually these celebrity sort of things nowadays. He's put on a little bit of weight, Neil, hasn't he? Right, let's get the camera around for that. So we hope you enjoyed that little programme watch there. Enjoyed doing that. And it's great doing the old Bert Trautmann, wasn't it? It was great doing him, doing things on that. Well, that's that. Thought a bit longer than I hoped. A bit longer than I thought. Actually, 46 minutes. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about the bald head as well, giving you that ugly sight at the end of this streaming. But we've obviously got the camera up there. Thanks for watching this again. I'll be back soon with episode 11, which will be City Present, which obviously will be probably 7 to 10 days after the Atlanta at home game. So I'll be back for that. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, push the old subscribe button. That'd be great. Push the bell notifications so you know when these videos are coming out. Obviously, the next City Pass one will probably be 2 or 3 weeks when we'll be looking at November. I know the year, but I'm not telling you. I'll be looking at November. But another brilliant year, or less than brilliant year. But hey, I might find a month where we're doing quite well. I've tended to find ones where we've been struggling a bit recently, but I will find one where we're doing pretty well. So hope you can watch us for that. Follow me on Twitter at nostalgia_movie, with links obviously on Facebook to Burn the Knee, links to Movie Game Nostalgia, my website for movies, board games, and obviously all links to Citizen, my vlog. So hope you enjoyed that. Whatever you're going to do with the rest of today, have a great one. Look after yourself, and obviously more importantly, look after your family. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.